Yo guys, I'm Truzuo, and today we're talking about the CI games, the Lords of the Fallen devs, and how they are taking a step forward for the gamers and actually getting rid of their publisher and doing it themselves so they can actually get their game out to more people. So we're listening to Legendary Drops because he has more coverage on it. And this is also, if you guys didn't know, I made another video of people criticizing their newly released game. I think it was in 2023. I made a video on that. People were criticizing the devs and how they like design certain things, and then they end up changing it and listening to the community. And if you want to see that, I think it's on my channel. I forget what the title of it's called. I think Lord of the Fallen Change, something like that. But it's one of my most viewed videos because people actually wanted to listen to what the devs were actually doing for the game because people were actually interested. And it was one of my favorite games I saw. I forget what game show it was released, and it was playing, I think, Mother. I'm forgetting the artist off the top of my head. And I was like, damn, this is sick. This is badass. And I was like, I'm going to check it out. And I ended up playing it. And it was like, it wasn't great, but, the devs were listening and they ended up changing it. So we're going to listen to Legendary Drops. Be sure to go check them out. And let's see what he has to say.
Aren't going to believe this. Hell, even I barely believe this. We have a studio that nearing the release of their next game, likely to make an announcement on that.
This is the sequel to that game that I talked about in, I think, 2023 it was. So let's see.
Soon went out of their way to raise money and dissolve their publishing partnership so that they can release their game anywhere they wanted to.
That's hard, bro. That's sticking up for your fans and your community. That's crazy.
Without any exclusivity. Why?
I mean, I feel like exclusivity is good for like partners of Xbox, if it's an Xbox exclusive partner, like a first party, and same with PlayStation. I think that's fair enough if it's exclusive. But I feel like if you're a third party, you want your game to be everywhere, no matter the platform. Steam, Epic, EA, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. I feel like you need to have it everywhere. Have a chance to find a market and find a place for people to enjoy your game.
Because the players asked for it.
That's crazy. If the players asked for it and they did that, that's crazy. And they raised money for them and people actually donated for it. That's actually W community right there.
Here's their decision making went with this. These guys literally said, oh, that's what the players want. Okay, that's exactly what we'll do.
Damn. That's crazy.
How many times have we seen these developers come out and say that they're for the players, only for these guys to immediately go and do the exact opposite? How many times have we seen a developer bet on us?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, I don't think
happen.
so.
And in this case, what Lords of the Fallen is doing, this has never happened before, ever. This is an industry first.
Yeah.
These guys have taken a complete turnaround. They have taken a leap in the opposite direction of the industry in this case, where they're saying that they are putting the...
I just remember it was Danzig. I don't know how I forgot that. Danzig Mother is their original trailer that got me hyped for their first game that they released, I think, in 2023. And I was like, dude, this shit is badass. And I saw their second trailer. It wasn't bad. But people were criticizing it for, how bad it was before, and they made changes and they made their first game really good. And then I think it's releasing this year at some point. And they were also, I saw stuff on Twitter, people criticizing their designs of their female armor designs or concepts, and they had a whole video. I don't know if you'll talk about it, but it was like, dude, if the people want something, why would the developers not listen to them? It's like, if the players are wanting something, then if the players get that and it's something they don't like, then it's on the players then, and then the devs can say that. But if the players want something and they get it, then they should be happy, and then they'll most likely buy it because that's what they want.
Players first, and hell, in this case, they're putting the players before even themselves because
that's crazy.
They are assuming all of the risk for this. There's nobody left to catch them other than us.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna raise the money and you're gonna do it and it fails, and then it's on you. But at least you listen to what the people wanted.
That's a lot of trust to give, and these guys have just kept at it. This is what they've been doing the entire time. Everything that they've changed with their old game and everything that they're doing with their next game is all of it's been based on player feedback. All of it's been based on talking to. I mean,
that's what you should do. If your first game doesn't do as well, you just got to listen to feedback, especially if you're a dedicated dev team, which if they are, and it seems that they are, I feel like that's what you should do. Like if you see that people are actually interested in your game, but you just screwed it up, and you just got to listen and get feedback and just iterate and make changes. That's all you can do. Most of these other game studios nowadays are not doing that. They just force some type of decision, and then that's final. They don't listen to any, all these game studios will invite creators out there, and then creators will give their opinion, and then they won't change anything. Like the Battlefield, I forget how many different creators. I know Shroud was in there for 2042 when they released 2042 for Battlefield, and they're like, you should do this, this, and this, and Shroud's like, don't do that. That's stupid. And then they were like, hey, how about we release these like cosmetic skins? And they were like Santa Claus running around in Battlefield. And Charter was like, no, you should not be releasing Santa Claus running around in a Battlefield game. And then it got leaked, and then everyone, they had to like cancel it all. I'm like, why would you? You're a military like sim, like, you know, modern combat, you know, style game. Why are we having Santa Claus run around? That doesn't make any sense. And then look what happened with Battlefield 6. People came back because of all of the realism and how like originally Battlefield was depicted. And, you know, they lost out on a different number of reasons because of the updates and, you know, them not fixing a lot of things. But, you know, it's still doing a whole lot better than 2042 did on launch. So that's just what you got to do. You just got to listen.
And because of that, these guys have become public enemy number one for the media.
Yeah,
they've
been publicly number one because of the fact of I know I saw a number of different things they were posting, but the number one recently I saw was, like I said, the armor trims with the female characters. That was just crazy. It's like it's their own decision. They're designing the characters. They can design them how they want. And if people don't like them, then, you know, then don't buy the game. But people were like, dude, that's sick. That's badass. I'll want to get it. I want to play that character because I look sick.
Absolutely crazy. Every single move they make, every request they fill, the media has been out for blood since day one when it comes.
And then nowadays, the game journalists are not very reliable. I mean, you've seen it with, other videos on my channel recently of this mixtape. Just like, how can you give that a 10? That makes no sense. And then you give other games out there like Subnautica and all these other games, you give them like a 6 or a 7. It's like, okay, ignore that. We're not doing that shit. But it just makes no sense nowadays.
These guys. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about how for the first time ever, a studio is buying back its freedom for the players. I want to talk about how third-party exclusivity has become a poison in the games industry, how Lords of the Fallen has been putting players first, and you know, for everything that these guys do and all the attention that they get, they got to be doing something right.
But yeah, if you're getting criticism back and, you know, game journalists are mad and, you know, other media outlets are mad, then you're doing something right, because usually those people are in the wrong majority of the time for gaming nowadays.
A word from today's sponsor, Displayed.
Go check Displayed out. Go support Legendary Drops. We're going to skip that right now because it's already a pretty long video. So let's skip a little bit.
When it comes to exclusivity, I hate it. I think it's one of the weakest forms.
I think Xbox was did a right decision of releasing most of their games to PlayStation, and like even the games they already released, making it available to PlayStation was a W by Xbox. But I think they're, you know, dialing it back so they have some exclusives. But I think for the majority, I think Xbox is like doing it right by the gamers nowadays. But it's like saying, hey, we're going to release this game everywhere. Xbox and PC. It's usually Xbox, PC, and then nowadays I think they're still doing PlayStation releases. But I think it's, you know, if it's a first party Xbox game, I think they're toning it back so it's an exclusive to only Xbox and PC. But I think majority of the games should be everywhere.
Competition possible. I think that it is absolutely spineless. It is just allowing these platforms to avoid competing on the quality of their services, of their hardware, of their storefronts, and instead it's opting to gatekeep the audience by holding a bunch of games.
I'm excited for this game. I think this is going to be a State of Play, which we'll be doing a live stream for. So if you're interested in reacting to the PlayStation, and I think there's Xbox, and then there's going to be all the game shows are within like next couple of weeks. So if you're going to go check that out, I'll be live on Twitch doing a broadcast of everything. And this will be, I think this has had its own exclusive like part at the end of the show.
Hostage that they otherwise might want to buy. It is wholly anti-consumer, and I think that it is absolutely toxic for the success of games themselves, as well as the future for the studios that make them. Now, I will submit that first-party exclusivity makes sense. Those are their games.
That's what I'm saying. If it's a first-party exclusive game, I feel like it's entirely up to the decision of the publisher, like Xbox or PlayStation, if they want it anywhere else. But I feel like they want it on their own platform, and then Xbox is going to put it on PC because with Microsoft and everything, which is W in my opinion for Xbox. But PlayStation, I feel like they're very like, you know, sealed off. They don't really release anything to PC if it's an exclusive game, which is I wish they released. Bro, I'm having a stroke right now. PlayStation usually doesn't release it to PC, and I don't know why they don't just do PC and PlayStation. So at least they have some form of like market on the PC side. But I mean, you know, it's their decision at the end of the day. It's Sony. And I mean, they're not doing good right now because Bungie's up in smokes right now over that deal and the acquisition. And Destiny, you know, I think Destiny support is now getting canceled for, I think they're trying to support Marathon, and Marathon's already dead. So it's like, you know, nothing's going great over there right now.
Games, they fund them, they make them, and it makes sense that they would use those games to support their own platforms. Fine. But with third-party studios, them making a game exclusive, it's just not good. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, especially if you're like an indie or like a third party, like he's saying, you want your game to be everywhere because you want it to find its market. You want to see where people are going to be playing your game from, depending on the game itself. So it's a good way to test where your game fits with all these other big titles out there right now.
I understand why these guys do it. They need funding. They want visibility. Sometimes it's the only way that these guys are able to exist in the first place. But you are still adding another layer of oversight, and you're also limiting your own potential success. Yep. And we have seen just how badly that can backfire. PlayStation kneecapped the shit out of Helldivers.
Dude, Helldivers was crazy off launch. I didn't expect it. I never even heard of that. And then when I saw Helldivers 2 and all the promotions for it, it was like dominating. And then I saw that they made it so you had to have like a PlayStation account like link or something like that. And people legit flipped out, which is like, good on them. I mean, doing that is just, so stupid. Like when you have so much of a momentum and then you just kill it with a roadblock. And then people just like are pushing through, and I think they ended up changing. I think. Let's see.
When that game was setting the world on fire because of PlayStation logins and regional restrictions, Arrowhead made.
Ooh, yeah, the regional restrictions. Oh, that was diabolical.
A game that everybody was in love with, and then Sony created a disaster around it. And
then look what happened with Bungie right now. That shit's in smokes right now.
That's kind of the problem here. When you're tied to a platform like that, their decisions become your reputation, even if you're not the one that's actually making them. But even when things aren't as dramatic as that, exclusivity is still putting a ceiling over your game. Only so many people are going to be able to access it.
Yeah, that's what I hate. It's like you're restricting your audience to only the people that play on your platform, or like your platform or whatever other platform that you are, publishing to. It's like Nintendo. I feel like they would have so many more people playing their games if they, was able to at least get it to PC, but then people poured it over anyway. And I don't know what Nintendo's doing with their graphics and everything, because I feel like they're so far behind in some areas, like with Pokemon. That's one of my favorite games from them. And Mario Kart, it's like I feel like the graphics could be like, at least the fidelity and anything else could be like improved upon, like with like how like advanced graphics have been in like in the last couple of years. I feel like just the way it looks just so bad, compared to what it could be, but that's a whole different story. But I mean, yeah.
Only so many people are going to be willing to go the extra mile that you are now forcing upon them, whether that means buying a new piece of hardware or using a storefront that they don't want to use. And I think that has helped to create this weird codependent relationship where these studios make exclusives because they need the money, and then the game goes out and it struggles to reach as many players as it could have. And suddenly they're even more dependent on those same platforms the next time around because they're still in the hole. I think the best two possible examples I could give are Square Enix and Remedy. Final Fantasy has spent years tied to PlayStation, and I think that has absolutely helped to drag that series further out of the wider conversation of video games, with both Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth just failing to meet expectations. And with Remedy and Alan Wake...
Bro, every time I see the Final Fantasy thing, I mean, people are going crazy. I've never played a Final Fantasy game. I was never into it at the time of whenever it was popular. But every time there's an event or a collaboration, people are like dying to play it or like, see it in whatever game they're playing in.
Well, that was locked to the Epic Games Store.
I think the only thing I ever played with that was the Apex thing, because I was in Apex when they did a Final Fantasy event.
And that game just didn't sell. It was a game that took them to the end of 2024 to finally start generating royalties for the studio, because Epic still had to recoup their costs from it first. These are not bad games, and I think that's what makes it so frustrating. They are games that should have had every single possible chance to be able to find players, but instead, they launched outside of the reach of players because these platforms were putting themselves first. So those games come out and they underperform, or at least they fall short of what they should have been. That studio now needs more money. The platform holder is still there with the check because they still want players to be baited in by some of these games, and the next exclusive deal starts looking a little bit more necessary than the last one, and it just keeps happening, and it's such a bad cycle.
It's a never-ending cycle that no one ever wins. The players don't win, the devs don't win, and then you get shit that gets canceled or put on ice until they have enough money to do it again.
It's not good for these studios. It's not what the players are wanting, and it looks like Lords of the Fallen is going to be one of the first ones to break this cycle by putting the players first. Just a few days ago, Lords of the Fallen CEO Marek Tymiński wrote on Twitter, independent developer CI Games today announced that it has signed a separation agreement with Epic Games Publishing. As a result, CI Games has regained full open distribution rights for the PC version of Lords of the Fallen 2, moving away from the PC exclusive publishing arrangement.
Oh, wow. I thought it was not exclusive just to PC. I thought it was PC and Xbox. Wow, it was only on PC? Really? Was that true? Because I bought it on Steam. I think it might have been. Damn. That's crazy. They were excluded. Oh, maybe. Let me look it up right now, guys. I'm going to look it up. Was Lords of the Fallen, I think 2023, available on Xbox? It looks like it was. I didn't check PlayStation, maybe? I swear. It's saying it was. I think it was owned by Epic Games, and I think Epic Games is like Fortnite and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it was exclusive in or their upcoming game was going to be exclusive. The previous PC exclusive publishing agreement. I'm not sure what this entails. If someone can correct me on that, I'm not sure because it's saying I'm pretty sure I remember it being on Xbox and PlayStation. Maybe it came out first on PC. Maybe. I'm not sure.
In June of 2024,
maybe I'll explain
Lords of the Fallen 2 remains scheduled to launch later this year on PC via Epic Game Store and other PC storefronts, as well as PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. CI Games will self-publish the title across all platforms, while Plaion continues to be the global physical distribution partner.
Maybe I misinterpreted that.
This has never happened before, at least not like this. An independent studio raising money, turning around and dissolving their publishing agreement just so they can get out of what would have been permanent exclusivity.
I think I'm stupid. I think the Epic Games was publishing it to other platforms, and they had an exclusive deal with them in terms of like an agreement in terms of okay, that's my bad, I think.
Exclusivity. Honestly, man, this is just crazy, especially for how much money was likely invested into these guys, and all of this was done based on player feedback. It's what their players wanted, and I mean this with sincerity. Regardless of how good Lords of the Fallen 2 ends up, if this game had stayed locked to Epic, it was going to fail. PC players have chosen Steam. That fight is over.
Oh, okay. Oh, PC exclusivity to only be on it. It was going to be, okay.
Cannot pull them away. Even when they're giving away free games. I mean, look at their numbers. Over the past 5 years, they've more than doubled their user count, but they've only increased third-party revenue by 1.6%.
That's crazy.
People log in, they take a free game, and then they leave. Hell, in most cases,
that's what I usually do with Epic now. I usually just get the free game or their assets they have on their store.
They go buy that exact same game on Steam later because that's where they actually want to play it.
Yeah, because it's more friendly.
If we then add to this Newzoo finding out that PC is set to outgrow all revenue of all consoles by 2028, Capcom saying that 55% of their players are on PC, and so many major platform releases finding most of their success on PC. This is not some niche side of the market anymore. This is where the players are. This is where the money's at. And the overwhelming majority of these players are on Steam. If you're not putting that game in front of those players, you are choosing to fail.
That's
CI
crazy.
Games knew that. They could see that. It's impossible not to see it at this point. But they also saw the players telling them, and the developers listened to it. And they've seen that stuff ever since this game was revealed. And these guys actually went out and they acted on it.
That's W.
All I have to say is that these guys aren't bullshitting. They are player first, even when that means taking the risk onto themselves. And don't get it twisted. Lords of the Fallen 2 is absolutely going to find more players because of this. But CI Games has basically handed back the safety net that exclusivity deal gave them. They chose to self-publish this game, and now the only thing that's left to catch these guys it fully came to me.
If their game failed, then Epic would be able to recover them since they published the game for them to other platforms. But since they're doing it themselves, they hold all the safety net if it fails. Oh, okay. I think I understand it. Yeah. I think I got to get it now.
This is a wild leap of faith. It is something that very few studios in this industry try anymore.
That's crazy.
Most AA or even independent
no one really does that,
studios still have some kind of major backing from publishing or marketing partnerships with some of these other major publishers. But these guys are going in raw because they believe in the game and they believe that the audience that they have built around.
If you're building a game, you should be inherently, proud of it. And, you know it's going to be a success. If you're making a game just to make a game, I feel like then it's inherently going to be inherently worse than it could be if you're completely passionate about it and you believe it's going to succeed. So I feel like if you're believing in it, hey, they'll find their audience.
Around them is going to be there for them when this game goes out.
I was a fan of it. I saw all the backlash, and when I started playing, it was not what I expected in terms of a game like this. And it had a bunch of bugs and stuff with all the combat and stuff. And I was just maybe I'll give it a try. And then they worked on it and look, it turned around.
It's really easy to call yourself player first when you don't have anything on the line. It's a completely different story when you're willing to risk it all, when you're willing to give up your own security because your players are telling you that they want to play the game somewhere else. And I was one of them. I've had many conversations with their CEO, and while they were fully aware of what the players were asking for, what the players wanted, and what's been going on in the games industry, I did everything I possibly could to try to push things in this direction. I tried to share any relevant data that I could.
I mean, that's what most, I feel like every time I've seen a content creator, unless they're like completely biased towards the studio, I feel like inherently all the content creators actually give good feedback. I feel like some of these devs just don't listen because they think like the content creators don't know what's best. And then when the game fails and the content creators come out and be like, yeah, I told the devs, I don't know how many games I've seen like, oh, I told the devs we should do this, you should do that. I feel like that's going to be a really bad decision. And then when they don't listen and then their game fails and then the content creators speak out and it's like, well, I don't know why would they would do that when I clearly told them to do something else. And then these guys are actually listening. It's like, then I feel like your game's going to do pretty well. Inherently, because these creators play the game 10 times probably more than the average person ever plays. I mean, look at Arc Raiders. That game was literally played to death by every single popular streamer, and then people got burnt out, and then the devs actually never like continuously updated the game, and now they're just doing bigger updates, and a lot of people have gotten away from the game because there's no content for them to play because their streamers aren't playing it because they have no content to play, and there's no they're not listening to what the community is giving like feedback on. So I feel like you listen to feedback, you get good results. I feel like that's inherently just like true with most of these studios that they actually just listen to people.
Friends, say anything I possibly could because I wanted to help these guys. I really did.
I mean, most of these creators want to help them because I feel like they are passionate about what they're making, and that's why they're there to give their feedback on, right?
Air truck coming by right now, but I really felt like these guys are genuine. I think that they want to put the players first. And
it seems like it.
That's why I wanted to help them, and they were appreciative in me doing so. And while I can talk their ear off, these are the guys that took action. They're the ones that did this. They're the ones that actually put players first, and that matters a hell of a lot more than anything that I can say. I'll tell you that. I'd seen a viewer of mine in a comment section that was talking about how this is not a player-first move. They're just doing this for money, but it's just for profit.
That can't be true because they're putting their own money on the line because they raised the money to self-publish. That makes no sense.
Brother, have you been watching the videos?
Yeah. Are you okay?
I try to approach all of this from both the perspective of not only a businessman, but also a customer, and try to make these developers or some of these studios realize that those two things are not mutually exclusive. Making the players happy, doing things for the players, and making more money is supposed to happen at the exact same time.
Yeah. If you make the players happy, the people will be playing your game more. The more times you piss the players off, the more likely they're not going to play their game or play your update wherever you do. Like, so it's pissing off your players is just inherently just a bad business decision. Like, that's inherently going to lose you money because people are going to be like, hey, friend so-and-so, hey, don't play that shit anymore. That game's trash now. So, and then they're not going to play it. And then friends are going to tell the other people not to play it. And then inherently there goes, 50 people, and then more people catch on, and then boom, you lost a large majority of your community because you just piss people off. That's just inherently true.
The thing that people are asking for, and you deliver it where they want it, they're going to show up for it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. These guys are taking a massive risk. Yep. I'm not going to deny that. But if this game delivers, it's going to be a massive success for them. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to blow the doors off. It just has to be more successful.
It just has to be more polished and more finished than their first game, which I think they seem like they're doing, and they're listening to feedback, which is what they should be doing. That's inherently how you make your game better and how you like recover community sentiment and make sure that people actually enjoy what they're going to be playing. And if the people see that they're making changes, then they're going to inherently give it a try. And if it meets their expectations or exceeds it, then boom, you have a new customer, and they're going to likely play your next game or play your updates when it comes out. That's inherently going to happen.
They made, and I don't really think that's going to be that hard for these guys, especially with it being on multiple platforms and also with the reputation that they've given themselves. But that reputation has come with a cost, because if this game succeeds, it's going to piss off a lot of journalists.
Bro. Oh my God. I can't wait. To see those. He'll probably cover it as well. Oh my God. It'll be actually hilarious.
These guys are going to be so mad because
all those game journalists that are giving Mixtape all these great reviews are inherently giving all Lords of the Fallen all these bad reviews and they're doing this, and this. And then when inherently it does good, oh my God, it's going to be a field day. It's going to be hilarious.
They've had it out for these guys since the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
While
a
Lords
lot
of
of
the
these
Fallen
game journalists do. It's like, oh, you see that Subnautica's doing very well. Black Myth Wukong that did really well. And they were like, oh, it's not that very good. And then it like broke Steam like for having like 2.8 million people playing like on the first day. It's like, dude, guys don't know what the hell you're talking about anymore. Like IGN, I inherently, if it's a 10, it's honestly a bad game. If it's a 1, I'm going to be playing it because that's how their scale is nowadays. It's like completely reversed.
It's definitely been celebrated by its players for everything that they've done, for everything they did with their old game and now what they're doing with their new game. Every step of the way, the media has been hounding these guys. And if this game finds success,
oh baby,
the media is not going to be happy.
Yeah, there's going to be a fire.
Now, I think a critical piece of context here as to why Lords of the Fallen and CI Games have become somewhat of an enemy to some of the media and also a dark horse in this industry is because, well, these guys were failures. They've tried to make this franchise work twice. They stumbled both times.
Yeah, I didn't even know about their first time attempting. I thought it was just like a brand new game. And then I was doing research and I was like, this game actually looks like a Dark Souls, Elden Ring-esque, dark fantasy game that appealed to me. I was like, I'm going to give it a try, The music was good. The trailer, looked insane. The visuals were crazy when it was at the game, whatever game show it was shown at. I can't remember. I'm like, I actually pre-ordered it for the first, like a game like that for the first time. I was like, I'm going to give it a try. And, it didn't meet my expectations, but at least, they listened and they, gave feedback and they changed. And now they're doing it again. They're not giving up because they believe in what they made. And they were showcasing all of their armor and everything for people, and people were like giving feedback, and then all the game journalists were like, oh no, you're sexualizing the female characters because you're making it revealing, even though how you have Marvel Rivals out there when there's like literally it's a teen, I think it's rated teen or something like that, and they have like less clothes than the armor of these people, and it's a dark fantasy world, which is, I don't know what they're going to rate this game, but inherently probably going to be more mature than that. And it's like, who cares, man? It's a fantasy RPG, Souls-like game. Like, what are we talking about? Who cares what they're wearing? It's up to the devs' imagination what the players want.
Started to find real success when they stopped keeping the audience at arm's length and they started wading into some conversations that most developers would probably never touch. The original Lords of the Fallen that released in 2014.
I feel like you should have someone like, I think that most people do, but I don't think they actually listen. Like, I feel like having a social media person constantly giving like, hey guys, not giving like, first looks or anything, or maybe giving like a tease or concept like, hey, this is what we're thinking. What do you guys think about this? I feel like that's a good first step, like testing the waters with and taking out any, taking the risk out of the equation when you release it later. Like if people are like really like hating the design or an aspect of your game, like, hey, we're going to add grappling to this game. Do you think it should be in the game or not? And then people say no. Then they're like, hey guys, I don't think it's a good idea. Maybe we should rethink that. So it inherently gives you a step up on when you release it, because it's like, well, people already said that they don't like that in the style of game that we're making. So maybe we should change it around. And so just doing that is free feedback, and it makes it so you're going to have less controversy when your game comes out.
Was just not a good game. And then almost a decade later, CI Games tried it again with a completely different game under the exact same name, and that one stumbled too. It was far more ambitious. I think it had a lot more going for it, but it launched rough, and the players made it very, very clear. And I think that failure changed them. They were forged through fire in a lot of cases because they didn't just patch that game with the obvious stuff and just move on from it. They stuck with it.
Oh, yeah, they stuck for a while.
For the next 2 years, these guys just kept taking in feedback.
Yeah, every time I went to Twitter, and because I was following them because I was so enticed by the first game when they announced, I was following them. Dude, they were posting like pretty much like every time they could to give feedback and like saying, hey guys, new update, let us know how it feels. New update, combat experience. Oh, we changed this, we tweaked this, we rebalanced this. Let us know how it feels. And they were literally like for a good while. I feel like they were posting like almost every like week. I feel like just changing stuff. And then I think I saw like that they sold a bunch of copies and it finally reached a threshold. We were just like inherently like so cool that they stuck through it. And most people just don't do that nowadays for devs. They have to cancel it because it's just inherently losing them all the money.
To the players and kept pushing updates. They fixed issues that most studios would have probably ignored in most cases. They gave the co-op a huge uplift. They eventually pushed this game to its 2.0 release, where the entire conversation around this game started to change. They even made it where you could play with your friends for free, just like Split.
I didn't know about that. That is W.
And it worked. After 3 years, the game had finally reached profitability, selling.
That's crazy. Sticking with it. Who would have thought? And actually making good decisions and listening to players. Who would have thought?
2.5 million copies and still counting. that's really where this player first mentality came from. On the second attempt, they finally started just listening to the players, and the players were the
finally
ones
found their foothold within the space and what people wanted, and now they're making their second game, and they're probably going to do a whole lot better. And now they know what the people want.
That saved them. After that, I think they just started looking at feedback in an entirely different light. They saw this divide that was growing.
I think a lot of game developers need to look at feedback in a different light. Like, maybe not, tell them what you're working on, but hey, if you guys were to play a game like this, what would you do? Hey, what would you do in this scenario? If you were playing in this fantasy world, would you like this? It's just like, and if you do a beta and stuff like that, always ask questions, always listen to the content creators, because those are the people that are going to be playing your game. Those are the people that are interested in your game. So just, making them mad or not, listening to them just inherently makes people not interested in your game. So I feel like if you listen, people will come. That's facts.
Media and the industry and the audience, and they were starting to wonder who is actually right in this discussion. Is it the players? Is it the media? Is any of this actually real? And I take the time to call out what I view as media bias on this channel. I talk about games that I don't think get treated fairly.
Game journalists, I don't know how they're not biased nowadays. I mean, every article I read inherently is just biased in some way. I mean, nowadays, and I don't know how people cannot see that. I think a lot of people are realizing that these game journalists are inherently inherently biased because they're getting paid to write whatever they are told to write, and then people gobble it up. But a lot of people are not listening anymore. They're realizing that it's a bunch of baloney, and people are realizing that they need to make their decisions on their own and do the research, and then realize that maybe this game is actually good and not terrible like people are saying it is.
I try to contrast the expectations of the audience with the expectations of critics, but for all the games that I have covered on this channel, I do not think there is a single one that is more controversial to the media than Lords of the Fallen. CI Games has been under barrage since the minute that they changed their core values to players first. And I know a lot of that is coming down to Derek Tominski himself, the CEO of the company. And look, I do think that the guy can get lost in the sauce of the culture war discourse sometimes. Even I have told
sometimes
him,
you just got to know when to tone it down. Inherently going too much into talking to people is, I think, there's a limit in how much you want to release and talk about. I feel like once you start going to the point where you're arguing with people, it's when you need to cut it off. You're getting your feedback, you're getting your decisions, and most people, care about that. But after that, I feel like once you start disagreeing with people and getting in a full blown Twitter argument or war, you need to get off the internet.
That it might be worth easing off the gas a little bit and just letting the game speak for itself.
Yeah.
And, kind of giving players something to look forward to. But at the end of the day, these guys are just talking to an audience that most of this industry would rather ignore. They're asking questions that most developers won't ask out loud. They're polling their players directly on Twitter.
Dude, this is crazy. Big one. In fantasy RPGs, do you prefer a character creator for total freedom or more builds and predetermined lead character for tighter storyline and animations? And then people also wanted a character creator. And I think that's inherently true. I think I would want a character creator. I want to design my character to be unique as possible in this fantasy world. I mean, sure, I think single character is okay if it's a linear story. I feel like if it's more open world, I feel like I want my own character to be in this world.
And they are.
What is this? Which one do you trust more for gaming news? I feel like media is at the bottom. I think then it's influencers and then it's friends. And then, none of them. I think your friends are, more reliable for your news. And your people that you look up to and be like, I know this player, plays a certain way or plays these certain games. Let me see what they're talking about. I think traditional media nowadays is just out the window. And until they rebuild their reputation, I'm never listening to them. There's only a few reputable sources nowadays that I actually, take with a grain of salt, but everything else is just trash.
Changing their games based on those.
In medieval fantasy action RPG experience, what do you prefer to choose between? Body type A and B, male or female? I mean, that's pretty facts right there.
Answers.
Body type A and B is pretty much male female, but I feel like this male female is just a better option.
I think the media outrage had really started with their investor call last year when they were asked about DEI in gaming and CI games.
Oh my God. Don't even get me started.
They basically said that they had watched a lot of high-profile releases underperform after leaning too hard into social or political messaging.
What do you expect to happen when you do that? Once you expose yourself to anything that's going on within the world, your game is going to inherently do worse because you're going to have more people come and criticize your game, and then it's going to distract from the fact that your game is so cool, so badass, or it's going to show its flaws, and most of the time it shows its flaws. Once you have all these cultural and things that are going on in the world, it's inherently what's going to happen. And then you get an Asmongold video, criticizing everything, and then that's when your game really goes downhill.
Their priority going forward was going to be enjoyment and commercial success. Something that is not all that controversial, at least in my eyes, but apparently it was to the media because these guys descended upon these dudes immediately with headlines like DEI boogeyman and anti-DEI marketing. But I think PC Gamer's response kind of gave the game away here because these guys are pointing out how thousands of games fail every single year.
Don't be a Concord, man. Don't be a Concord. And then in High Guard, like, it wasn't much DEI, as more as they don't have an identity and what their game was trying to be. But it's like, you just got to stick to your vision. You just don't deviate because of some, political factor, some motivation outside in the world going on right now. Just do what you think is going to be the best for your game.
That's totally not the reason that a game like Concord failed, as if everybody is claiming that every single game has flopped for the exact same reason. Nobody is saying that social messaging is the only reason the game can fail. They are saying that it's just another way to be able to alienate players, and they don't think it's worth.
Yeah, it creates. Once you give people a reason to hate your game, people are going to inherently find other ways to hate your game, whether it be the gameplay, the cinematics, the graphics, and then it dogpiles, and then you have people like trying to see what social messaging you're pushing, and then you get the Twitter wars, and then you get the YouTube videos, and then look what your game is now review bombed, and it's like inherently once you create that conflict is when you start driving more people to come hate on your game.
Worth including, and that's really just a conversation that not a lot of people want to have honestly anymore. CI Games kept having that conversation, and that's what made these guys a target. Now, not long ago, Lords of the Fallen revealed concept art for female armors for their
he is talking about this. Is what I was talking about. Oh my god, this is just brain dead.
Upcoming game, something that was based on community feedback. Players had asked for more attractive female characters in RPGs, and
I mean, inherently, why would you not make a character enticing, appealing, or want people to cosplay? If you make your character so like ugly or so like inherently hated, no one is gonna want to play that character. So then say you have a male person who's badass and the female character just looks, let's just say mid. No one is going to inherently play that role or attract that type of audience. Most girls are going to play girls, and most guys will play males. But if there's a good looking female that they inherently want to do more things to, they're going to play that character. You know what I mean? So why would you just make your character just ugly because it fits within the world, or it's because it's it's your style? I feel like that's just stupid.
They did this all in collaboration with a friend of the channel, the background NPC.
I'm not sure who this is, but let's hear it.
Feedback on the design. She watched the artist change these things in real time, and then she shared her experience in a sponsored video. And within a couple of hours,
that's pretty cool.
Media outlets were already crashing out.
Each
article was seething more than the last, and almost none of them.
A gaming YouTuber to promote its boring bikini armor. Oh my god, bro. Jesus, bro. Oh my god.
Actually, none of them made any real arguments.
Action RPG does make a desperate plea for relevance with horny armor designs. Like, who is writing these titles? Horny? Like, brother, oh my god. It's called attractiveness. It's called, having, a sense of, design in, like, sure, it's revealing, but it's what the players want, and that's what she's helping design. Like, what?
It's against the designs themselves. Most of it was just ad hominem more than anything.
If you want to go see revealing, go look at Marvel Rivals. Half their characters are legit like half naked or wearing bikinis or like all their skins, bro. Like, what are we talking about?
Else.
And I don't think they criticize them as much as they do the CI Games.
Anything, most of the criticism was about the art style, which
I mean, to be fair though, a lot of people do criticize for like why are there men in Marvel Rivals not inherently being sexualized more. It's like, oh my god, guys, can you just enjoy the game? Enjoy the game. They're based on the comics designs, and they're just adapting them to the style of the game, so it's somewhat appropriate, right? Because most of those skins are inherently worse in comics. They're like less clothing than it is already in the game. But like this looks fine, bro. You could say this one right here is has very less clothing. I mean, this is badass. This is badass. This is a little bit more like this, but it's still fine. I think it's fine. This one's fine. It's like you could say that there's a lot of why wouldn't you have more armor on it? But it's just like why wouldn't you just make a character appealing to someone to play? Like, it's just a good idea.
Concept art, not final in-game characters, so I don't know what you guys are complaining about. Outside of that, they just kind of floated baseless assumptions about the characters looking AI generated, or they just flat out
another thing, AI generated. Oh my god, people, holy. So what? It's a concept. It's not an actual it's not actual design. It's they're seeing what the people would like. Like if someone uses AI to concept, what like hey, change this out, make a different color. I think that's fine. I feel like unless you literally have AI design your game in terms of like, hey, AI, make me a 3D model of this character. It's like, okay, I don't think that's even possible yet, to be honest, but or maybe it is in some capacity, but it's like, who cares if it's not like broken or anything? Like you can have your opinion about AI, but it's like it's there for, it's going to inherently just get more and more prevalent in gaming. And if you can't like see that as like, for what it is, then like you probably shouldn't be playing games. That's your critique, is that it's AI, it looks like AI. Oh my god, get a grip, bro.
Dismissed the background NPC's involvement because it was a sponsored video and she was paid, as if that somehow explains her positive spin. These guys didn't even take the 5 seconds to do the most basic research.
Yeah, that's another thing. People will criticize something and not take 5 seconds to Google or even use AI to look up, hey, and cross-reference, hey, what is going on? Like, why is this person getting the chance to do this? Why is this person like this? Why is this game being developed like this? Or, hey, does this game have AI in it? Just do your research. It's literally like common sense. Like, if you hate a game based on someone else, then that's just stupid. Like, just do your research and then come to a conclusion or your opinion. Like, it's not that hard.
That she effectively launched this channel off of making videos where she was criticizing how women are designed and...
Oh my god, that is hilarious. They'd even look at their own channel to see that she's actually trying to help studios like make it so that, oh my god, that's actually freaking hilarious.
Portrayed in video games. This stuff is just embarrassing to me.
This shows you how disconnected game journalists are.
Then you had Jade King of The Gamer, who argued that hot characters in games don't actually matter, that scantily clad...
Oh my god, that is so not true. Dude, you know how many down bad guys there are out there that are literally play games just for the character? Like, that's just, there's a whole audience and community around people that like characters like that. So, and why would you make your character unattractive? It inherently just creates more hate around your game because the character looks so stupid. So like, why would you do that? That's inherently not true.
Women don't actually help to sell games, and that's totally wrong. And these are just complaints.
What if the guy looks stupid? Like, it's the same thing. Why would you not have an attractive main character, lead, or character? So you know what I mean? That's so stupid.
We're coming from a very small but loud corner of the internet, while also using Baldur's Gate 3 as proof of diverse and inclusive success. Yes, Baldur's Gate 3, famously known for its complete lack of conventionally attractive characters.
Dude, those characters were like the most attractive people I've seen in a while for video games. Like, you know how many people were like, what is that one guy? Oh, I can't remember his name. I can visualize his face. He has like, I think he has elf ears. He has like that unique voice, and I think that like kind of curly hair. I've seen so many people posting pictures of him, like wanting to be his partner and shit. Like all the girls were fangirling over him. I'm like, dude. Like all these characters are so attractive. Like what are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Actually, after looking at the armor sets, I just don't see the moral panic here. Most of these designs are tamer than what you would see in Marvel Rivals.
Oh my god. I'm ingenious. So I'm telling you, bro, Marvel Rivals is crazy.
And that game's rated T for teen.
Dude, me and him are on the same wavelength, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
None of this,
and they're even dumbing it down. I'm pretty sure like comics, bro, they're even worse, and they're like making it so it's actually, acceptable in the game.
Outrage made any sense, which is why I think that this outrage was never even about the designs. I think it was about the people involved. They don't like CI games. They don't like the audience that CI games.
They don't want them to succeed because they want people to actually listen to them, and their opinions are usually all wrong.
Is willing to engage with, and they saw the background NPC as a woman, as a small creator, and someone that they could probably put some pressure on without
make them change because it's sexualizing their character. Oh my god! I'm like, dude, come on, get a grip.
Pushback. More than anything, I think that they think that Lords of the Fallen 2 is an easy I told you so. This smaller franchise with a messy history and a sequel that they likely thought was doomed because of Epic exclusivity and a studio that was already saying things that they hated. So they took their shot early because they were trying to
get in early so you can, be the first one to say, "Oh, I was in there first." And then when the game fails, it's like, "Guys, look, I told you from the get-go." And then what happens when the game actually does well? Hey guys, I didn't know. It's like, what do you mean you didn't know? You were literally the first one to cover it.
And I think that's what all of this comes down to. These outlets have no problem celebrating representation and inclusivity when it comes to audiences that they approve of.
Yeah,
they have games that are reflecting certain values or identities or politics, and
anything they agree with, oh, it's great. And then when it disagrees with them, oh, guys, this game is terrible. You shouldn't play it. I didn't enjoy my experience. What about you, gamer, that you've played every single game? It was amazing. And it's like, what?
Like questioning whether or not any of that is sincere, or it's pandering, or it's just another way to sell a product, or whether or not people even want that, or it even serves the games to begin with. But when a studio openly serves a different audience, that tone changes immediately. Now it's desperation. Now it's embarrassing. Now everybody is acting like fantasy armor for women in a video game is some moral emergency that they all need to panic over. This is why CI Games has made themselves a target. They have been pretty blunt about what kind of game they are making and what kind of audience they want to serve. Players who want fantasy to look like fantasy. And guess what? If it fails, then it's on them. And then you can criticize them for the decisions they make.
Players Simple as that
don't want a character to look like it was designed and filtered through HR. Players that don't want to feel like they're being lectured when they sit down to play a game. And whether or not you like those people, whether or not you like that audience or these developers, they exist. These guys are buying games. These guys have their own preferences. CI Games is not excluding anybody by making a game that is outside of that conversation. Anyone can buy it. Anybody can still play it. But to certain outlets, refusing to participate is treated like an act of hostility. Not adding messaging is now the messaging. And that is exactly why the studio is just constantly being dragged into controversy for doing something that honestly I think should be painfully normal. Just asking players what they want and then making what
that should be a normal in games nowadays. I don't know why you would not want to ask the players in test, hey guys, what do you think of the game? Oh, it's bad. Why do you think it's bad? Okay. Hey team, do you think we should maybe change this? You know, if a small group of people like your testers are saying it's bad, then what do you think a large audience is going to say when they get their hands on it?
I just think it's a really weird position to take, saying that none of this stuff is necessary in games. It's not needed for games.
Oh my God.
When Lords of the Fallen has a proven track record of talking to their audience, polling their audience, engaging with them directly, constantly. You're seeing like Ryan Hill and a couple of other people that are over there just constantly talking to people on Twitter and on
that's what you should be doing.
Wherever else.
Like, if you're unsure of a decision, ask the community, ask the fans of your games. What do you like? What do you don't like? And then just work from there.
These guys have receipts. They have paper showing you. They're talking to their audience. That's where this is coming from. They have an audience. That's who they're serving. It's as simple as that. It's a transaction. It's not that much more complicated than that, I promise you. And what is with this constant need to deny reality?
That's another thing. Oh my God. Like, come on, guys. Like, are we living in the same world? Like, I think we are. Like, open your eyes, guys. See the real vision of what's going on in the world. Like, do research. Make your own opinion. Stop listening to other people's opinions just because, they're signed to this, game journalist studio, or they're this developer, or, they're part of this group. It's like, do your research. Google. You have so many resources at your disposal. You have AI to do the freaking research for you. And then if you don't like AI, then just Google it, man. Like, it ain't that hard. Or go watch a couple videos and see what people are actually saying. Like, don't go listen to one source because you like them, because they're going to be biased because that's what you like. Go listen to other people and see what they have to say.
The part that bothers me the most, you can't tell people that there's no elephant in the room when they can see it. Come on, man.
Yeah, man.
Like, you can't be mad at Lords of the Fallen for calling some of this stuff out and saying that they're going in the opposite direction when it is a very observable pattern that people have seen in a lot of games, especially in AAA games, and people have been calling it out. Instead, what you should do is just own it. Say, I want every female character or every character in games to look like Gumby because that makes the space feel safer. That's what I'm more comfortable with. And it pushes whatever my worldview is. Cool.
Oh my God.
That doesn't necessarily mean that
if you want to do that, good on for you. People will play your game and your game can fail. I'm going to go play a game that I think is badass.
It. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have to buy it, and that it also doesn't mean that I'm not going to criticize it because it's not.
And if people criticize your game, don't come at them like, oh, it's because of this and this and this. It's like, you created that vision when you set out to make your game. And if people get that, just from just like looking at your game, then maybe you made a bad game, or maybe your game is just looks that way because you made bad decisions. It's not their fault. You made the game. They didn't.
I want. So I'm still going to try to push that conversation because there are things that I want. I like attractive women in video games. make a martyr out of me.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not attracted to someone who looks attractive. Like, that's just stupid. Like, I'm gonna play a character like in GTA, for example. For the longest time, I just played female characters. Well, because of the fact that, you know, it came out that most people or most female characters have a smaller hitbox. So I know when I was younger, I played female characters because of the hitbox, because like it made it harder for people to hit me because I was that competitive. Nowadays, I just play it because it's just like it was something that I feel comfortable in, because it's competitive, but it also, the character looks inherently more attractive, and compared to a male guy, I'm looking at 24/7. But I'll still play male characters because, I mean, if the female character looks, you know, brain dead, then why am I going to play a female character? You know what I mean? So it's like, who cares?
You know, I've largely fallen off the train of no social messaging in video games. And it's mostly just because, like, people are allowed to do whatever they want. Make whatever game that you want.
Exactly.
That used to be the kind of message that we had in the games industry. And then
now it's completely different
because of how divisive things have become.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, do whatever you want, make whatever you want. It just doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to be criticized, and it also doesn't mean that it's going to be commercially viable.
Exactly.
That's a choice that you have to make, and I think that choice kind of goes in either direction, and I think that one direction, at least right now, seems like it's going to be a little bit more profitable, and it looks like the direction that Lords of the Fallen is chasing right now.
And that's what they should be doing.
All I can say is that, you know, given all of this, and just given everything that these guys have done, they really are putting the players first. They're genuinely listening to people in a way that I think we rarely see in the games industry anymore. I think that there's different kinds of talent in the games industry. You have some people that are just naturally gifted, and they just know what players want. They probably because they...
And I feel like a lot of people are starting to realize that and starting to pick out the bad apples in the bunch. And just look what happens with Bungie, Halo. I mean, all of them... all of their, you know, messaging and all of their, you know, designs are just falling flat because of the fact that they're just making bad games as well as making bad decisions. And so when people see that and then start seeing a pattern, they're like, they're not going to inherently trust you anymore.
Want it themselves in some cases. And it just so happens that perfectly lines up with exactly what people are looking for in a moment. And then you have people that just don't necessarily have that talent. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you're not talented. It just means that you have to go out there and find out what people want.
Exactly.
And that's what these guys have been doing. Whether that's fixing their last game, whether that's the changes that they're making with this game, whether that's them getting rid of exclusivity, these guys are actively listening, and they are taking some really big swings and some really big risks in trying to connect with
I've never seen this before,
yeah. And I think it's one of the coolest things that I've seen.
Yeah, insane, actually.
That's all I got. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, comment
go show
down
them
below.
love.
Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on
We've been reacting to a bunch of his content. W News covers everything, does all the research for me, so I don't have to do it because I'm pretty busy, and you know, he gets all the right sources, and I trust him because he's been doing a lot of content recently, and you can just see how bad the games industry has been with certain things, and he's just calling it out. And a lot of people are starting to call it out, and he's the most reliable source. So go check him out. We'll be watching a ton of more videos of his. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this whole situation. I think I'll be definitely giving Lords of the Fallen 2 a second chance. I think they'll probably be showcasing it probably at one of these upcoming game shows. Like I said, I'm going to be reacting to on streaming it. I think I'll probably try to do every platform. Hopefully my PC doesn't crash. But yeah, we'll be checking that out. And yeah, I think this, you know, self-publishing, it's a big risk, but hey, if that's what the players want, give the players what they want. And then people will come. People will play your game. If your game is good, people will play your game. If you start including all these social messaging and all these things that are happening in the world, your game is inherently going to get more criticized because you're pushing values that people don't care about anymore in video games. Just make a good game. You know, look at Assassin's Creed, their remake, Black Flag. People are like blown away because Ubisoft actually made an Assassin's Creed that isn't, you know, doing social messaging and doing like, you know, brain dead stuff. And people are playing their game. You know, inherently it was a good game before, but nowadays, look how insane Assassin's Creed could be if you actually made a good game. So that's all I have to write for right now. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want more of this, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.